Hi everyone, welcome back to our little practice time together, yay! This is our old masters, there we go, not young masters, but old masters for young players, there we go. And today we're looking at a beautiful piece by G.B. Bononcini. I love saying that name, Bononcini, I love that. Rondeau. So this is towards the end of our book because we're almost done. We have only one more song, the last one, not this one, this is the second to last one. So I hope you've been enjoying this series. It's really been fun to do this together. So a rondo. This is an interesting kind of musical form. It relates back to like poetry and Middle Ages, and there's a lot of repetition, and it's just kind of interesting. So you could kind of go down that music history / historical literature rabbit hole and kind of check out what a rondo actually is. But this was not composed in the medieval time period, so this is kind of maybe inspired by a rondo, because it's a slightly different form of a medieval rondo, it seems. But anyway, let's not go off on that tangent, because I will confuse myself and you at the same time. So we're going to take a look at the first half today, which I'm going to just call the first 4 lines. I'm going to play them for you, and then we'll go back and we'll kind of talk about what makes it a rondo. Okay, but before we jump in, real quick, there's 2 sharps, there's an F sharp, there's the C sharp, we're in 3/4, so it's kind of dancey. There's some dynamics that I'm going to try to do. I also have some fingerings to give you. So for those of you on Patreon, by the way, this is your weekly lesson, as you know, and there's a little attachment of all of my scribbles there for you. And there's also the link to the imslp there. So let's go ahead and make sure that you have those. And for those of you on YouTube, hello, and there's also a link to the etude in the YouTube description. So make sure that you have that so that you're not completely confused by what we're doing. So with that, I will go ahead and finally play this for you. The anticipation. 1, 2, 3. That's where we're gonna end. Okay, so it's very sweet. It's like very joyful and playful. So the A section, let me play you what we're gonna call the A section. All right, so from the very beginning, let's bracket this out and just put a big capital A there. Okay. So that's the end of the A section, and then where the piano is, we're going to be starting the A1 section, because it's very, very similar to the original, but it ends a little different. So I'm going to call it the A1 section. So here's A1 starting from the piano. And this is where it becomes different. Okay, and then that's the end of the A1 section right there. Right where we're about to start on the piano, this we're going to call B. So big capital B here. And then we're not going to look at this today, but I just want to play you the next section. This would be, is it A or is it A1? See if you can tell. Listen for the ending here. Do you think it's A or do you think it's A1? Take a look at the end of the A section, and then take a look at the end of the A1 section. It's A1, okay? But we'll look at that next time. We'll pick that up next week. So fingerings. And also articulation. You'll see that there's dots over a lot of the notes. Some of them don't have a dot, so also be wary of those because we don't want to separate the sound if there's no dot. And instead of having a really bouncy spiccato-y sound like this, which happens when you bounce the bow, I'm trying to show you how high I'm bouncing. If you're bouncing too high, you're going to get a really percussive-y sound. So try to keep it tighter and lengthen the bow stroke versus. Sometimes we need that kind of percussive-y sound, but in this case I think more of what is called a brush stroke would be better. So you're just going to do that by keeping the bounce a little bit smaller and using a little bit longer bow stroke. So hear the difference versus. Can you hear the difference? I'm trying to really exaggerate the spiccato for you. So that's just something to watch out for. There's a place where there's no dot. This might just be an accident, but if you look at the second line, measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, measure 5 would be played instead of. There's no dot there, so try and connect the sound. So just be wary of, I don't think there's a lot of instances where that happens. Fingerings. So the beginning of the second line, you don't have to do any of these fingerings, but I'm going to tell you why maybe it would be helpful. So what's written, the beginning of the second line is, which is really hard on the fourth finger. We want to be able to do it, but it's also just got a lot of exercise for the finger and then hold the fourth finger for a really long time with vibrato perhaps. And so to get around using the fourth finger, you could do this. Swap with second finger for the trill. And then on the open A, come back to the first position. So I'm going to show you that one more time. Here's the suggestion from the beginning of the second line. Put a 2 on the trill. 1 goes behind for the C sharp. And then you have third finger on the E, the open A, and then use that open string to shift your hand back and then put 4. Okay, another fingering idea could be on the third line. Let's look at the third line. I'll start from the beginning of the third line, but this fingering is going to happen starting on the second measure and it'll stay for a little while. So here's the beginning of the third line. Shift up to third position, put a 1 there. And I'm doing 2 up bows so that I can do a down bow here. A little retake. And then here, come back down to first position. So you don't have to do that. This is how it's written. It works in first position, but if you can do it in third, it's a good opportunity to practice shifting. And then it keeps that on one string instead of, which has all of that string crossing there. On one string it sounds better. So you can just stay there and then come back down. All right, last thing, dynamics. Sometimes it's really the dynamics that shows you really audibly that we've started the sentence again, or we've started something new, or we started the A1 versus the A, but something new has happened, the dynamic. So let me just try and do this whole section that we've looked at today and really try to bring out the dynamics for you. I'm going to try to do that by changing my contact point and also changing how much bow I'm using. More bow, more sound, less bow, less sound. Maybe a little heavier sometimes, maybe not. So here we go. Mezzo forte. You see what I mean? So it really makes it fun if you can do the dynamics. With that, I hope you enjoy this. Don't forget, this is supposed to be played with piano, and I will see you next time where we take a look at the second half. All right? Happy practicing, you guys. Thanks for being here with me today.